All right, guys. Well, before we go this week, we've got a new segment that we're doing. This is the first for you guys. We are ending our show with a high note. Something that is sort of just a positive end to your week. Something that maybe you were thinking about while smoking. Something that maybe you just haven't been able to stop thinking about all the time. It's just constantly been there. Civ, please put weed into your game. No. Whatever be it. What are some of those things that you'd light up a joint, you'd pack a bowl, you'd hit the Puffco, and you'd turn to your friend and go, hey, man, have you heard about this?
Ooh.
Is there someone that wants to go first this week?
Yeah, so I got pretty high by myself. Yeah, I know. By myself. What is it, like 2 nights ago? Mm-hmm. And usually I'll just play like video games or guitar or just like go to sleep. But no, for some reason my brain was like, you need to write a D&D campaign about the Dabbler team and you need to decide who everyone is and what their class and race structure is. And now I have a small campaign written out with everyone listed out with their classes, and we're the Guild of Festivals, and I'm very excited to probably never see this come to fruition in any way.
All right, so I need to know the nerdiness of this conversation where we can get to. Do you play D&D, or have you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you played D&D?
I've never played. I'm ancillarily aware.
We're going to fill you in. So there are some Dabbler Depot people that podcast listeners probably know pretty well, including like I want to hear more about like what were some of these characters that you created.
Yeah, I got a list.
All right, here we go.
Give me 1 second.
I'm stoked.
Hold on, it's in a group chat somewhere. Give me a second.
This is so good. So I started a virtual D&D campaign over like the pandemic back in 2020 that lasted for like 3 years.
Nice.
And when we got to the end, we were like, well, I guess we're now like meeting in person. This was just to like fill our time. I guess we can be done.
Yeah, we can use. So
should we retire?
Yeah, we can start a new campaign. So tell me more about these characters.
So we're we're a festival guild. And like I'm trying to figure out the city. It's gonna be a Twin Cities spoof. It's not very creative. The only creative is turning the world as I see it into a fantasy world. So we'll start with like Kelly is a cleric changeling.
Okay. Yep.
And then Will, I have him as an Owlin bard.
Yep.
Yeah. Will is a bard for sure.
Yep.
Kale, half elf rogue. All the
right,
way. It's a little on the
very
nose
much.
for
I
you,
can
buddy.
see that.
Addo, our marketing wizard, is a goblin monk. I checked with that. I was like, yo, if you saw yourself as a demon, and they're like, small goblin who hits people. And I was like, word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Staff.
There you go. Jordan, I have as a Goliath artificer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tanner,
I
I want to hear from you. What does that mean?
So I know Goliath because that's a pretty common race. We interacted that with my guild. It's giant. Like you're looking at orc size, but even larger. They stand in a room and like you look around and you're like, oh, there's Jordan up there.
Got it.
Yeah.
The class though, that one I don't know as well. Tell
Artificer.
me.
Yeah.
So it's like paladin is like wizard knight.
Yeah.
And then like what is it? Cleric is like wizard doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Artificer is wizard builder engineer.
Engineer.
Oh, that's
Yep.
spot on.
It's
like
that is spot on.
Engineer magic. So it's where science and magic kind of coalesce. So it gets into like the steampunk stuff, but flies drones and.
But that's so. I remember coming in the studio for the first time, and there's just like things mounted all around. It looks like they're just like floating.
Yeah, he's the tinkerer.
Yeah, the tinkerer.
Guys, you're gonna make me cry. That's so sweet. I feel seen today. I feel seen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's spot on.
For Liam, he's going to be a dragonborn druid.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's really
It's
cool.
just for some reason in my brain, like a dragonborn is like a very like meditative, calming presence in any party that I've been in, and Liam very much serves that purpose in my life.
Yeah, he brings the fire to the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edward is just like straight up like human fighter.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
Steady Eddie.
Yeah, Steady Eddie. Like, I'm gonna find a way to have his weapon be like a baseball bat in some way, like because he loves baseball so much.
I hope he's listening to this right now.
Yeah, like,
Yep. Spot on.
Well, this is like Eddie. I'm just like, that's a guy like. That peg fits in a lot of holes. Like, you know, easier to go for. And so, like, human fighter, adaptable. You just need someone to hit something sometimes in your party.
And consistently outperforms like the rest of the class in terms of DPS and tanking and everything else. Human fighter.
Yeah, human fighter. And then me, I'm a tiefling warlock.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was, and like I drew out like there's like probably 6 pages of like backstory and everything. I like when I woke up, it's riddled with spelling mistakes. Like it's awful. My professors in college, if they read that, they'd be like, "You're better than this, dude." Yeah. But like I was super stoked about it.
Put it through AI at this point, and it'll correct.
Chat GPT, make this legible.
Yeah, make this better.
Can we expect a deck of playing cards coming out of these characters at some point?
You know,
I was gonna crank out some. I have a little trading card project, or at least collectible card project that I've been working on for seeds. But yeah, we could. I was thinking about doing it for like people in like the Minnesota cannabis industry, but I don't know if everybody would like. Love that, but it'd be kind of cool.
I have a lot of thoughts on who could be good characters for that.
Yeah.
Before we get in trouble, Tanner, what's your high note?
Oh wow. Well, first off, before we move on, I think we should create this game, run it, record the whole thing, and have like a weekly series of the Dabbler Depot for an hour, just playing D&D. Maybe everyone has to like take a giant hit of something beforehand, and then it's just like, welcome to the world.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so many of us who are just going to like knuckle drag our way through like Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, we actually were looking at starting a board game night here at Seed
Ooh,
Sesh.
all right.
So
Yeah,
like,
please.
I'd be there.
Yeah.
could work.
Reach
What's
out.
your high note?
All right, so my high note, I brought something for this week, so I'm gonna reach over
Show and tell.
here and grab it.
tell.
Show and here
On a
show and tell high
podcast.
note. So I'm a big a loser for just like really good cannabis jar branding.
Yeah.
I like just a jar that has some pretty good oil in it that also has really, really good branding on it. And I brought this one in because I just have to show it off. So there's a couple things that stand out about it. First off, the brand is OGs. Like OG,
OGs.
but the Minnesota OGs. Very Midwestern. I love it. The cultivar, Interstate 95.
Ooh.
And what is the graphics on the side other than just like a Minnesota forest? Interstate 95. This super cool ass truck going down the interstate. And I gotta be honest, I bought it just because it was a cool jar. It's pretty good oil too. I'm not mad about it. But I really, my high note from this week is a call towards rosin makers, concentrate makers, branders, jars, whatever. I want to see cool Minnesota branded weed things. Make more. Send them to me. I want to see them. If you've got some cool jars, I wouldn't mind smoking the oil in it too. But also, I just want to see really cool branding. So I saw this. I was like, well, I gotta show it off. It's an OGs. OGs. So that's my high note. Just like
OGs.
make more Minnesota weed stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, what are you smoking on this week? What have you been thinking about?
So I've been thinking about a unresolved idea that Sam had for Doobie Dabbler. But I've just been we wanted to do. I think Liam at one point had said that we should do a cannabis industry dodgeball tournament, and I was like, that'd be super dope. Like you just get like your champions, but also getting like fielding a dodgeball team for an entire team for a night means that a lot of places are understaffed, and if the entire cannabis industry is playing dodgeball, that couldn't happen. So we're like, well, what could we get high and do? And then Sam was like, what about a spelling bee? And
I forgot I said that.
I have not been able to get it out of my head. And we have like a giant trophy, and people just get higher and higher and have to spell words. And like words like soldier, where you have like, silent letters.
Oh my gosh.
And because then you don't have to field like an entire team, but you could like pick your like spelling bee champion. And yeah, we wanted to like maybe record it, but it's just something
needs to be
I
recorded.
frequently think about it, and I'm like, I still want to do the industry spelling bee.
Wow.
That was like my most like
That was
just,
in, like,
caveman
November.
logic. Get high spell words. You know, like
But that's so. Oh, I would love to watch that.
No,
Now,
Tanner, you need to moderate it.
as long as I'm not competing, I am notoriously a bad speller, so I would get out round 2 if not round 1. But
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see like what people in the industry could stick around.
well, it wouldn't even have to be hard words. It could just be funny words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like get someone high enough go spell moist.
Because maybe that could be the other thing. It's like if you laugh too much,
Yeah.
you're out. You got to be serious about it.
Yeah,
This-
yeah.
this
You,
is
you
the-
get 3 laughs, 3 giggles.
Kale, spell, kumquat. Wow. All right. Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
go the other direction and be like, spell like
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Oh, just all weed words. It's like you say THC a lot. Can you spell the tetrahydra?
Or like
cannabidiol?
spell your brand's name.
because some of you don't know it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That one like plagues my mind. It just kind of sits there, and I'm like,
it'd be
man,
so
we never,
easy to
we
set
never
up."
saw it to resolution. But I think just like having someone from Granny's and somebody from Doc Dabs and somebody from, I mean, we could get you betcha everybody could be out here.
Because it would be cool to see them compete, but it would also be cool to see like what does like Superior Molecular think is their best speller.
yeah, like, who's the best speller?
Is it
at
the
the
owner?
Who's your champion?
Is it just like some gummy pad? Like,
Yeah.
who are you putting forward?
Yeah, who's your champion?
Wow, that's
we gotta
good.
get on it now.
That's
We
good.
gotta get
I
on
think
it.
you're dead.
Yeah, you've kind of vocalized it and recorded it.
So
now
if
it's-
you want to compete in the first annual Cannabis Dabbler Spelling Bee, reach out today. We'll put Kale's email in the show notes.
Yeah,
Shoot him an
yeah.
email.
Hit me up. Let's
Wow,
go.
That's good. Jordan, our Goliath, what have you been smoking about this week? What is your high note?
Well, okay, so I realized a few weeks ago I hadn't laid in a hammock in years. I have a hammock. I haven't used it in years because
Okay.
I have not been. I've been blessed with a home, but with no trees in the yard. I have nothing to hang my hammock from and just relax. So I decided to, a few weeks ago, like put it up in the rafters of my garage, just because that's where I do most of my consumption. And so I was laying in the hammock, smoking a little joint, and it got me thinking. This is a really great place to smoke a joint, but I know I've smoked in like cooler places, so it got me thinking, where are the coolest locations I've ever consumed? Whether that's contextually, like, yeah, it could be Minneapolis, but it's at like a show that I was really excited for, or in my travels around, and I'm like, yeah, hammock is a pretty dope spot, but this hammock is in a garage, and I know I've smoked in cooler places. A hammock's comfy, but there were cooler places, so. The question for you guys in the listening audience is,
Oh.
where do you think is the coolest or your most memorable location of smoking?
That's a really good one.
Mine, I will say, is it was in New Zealand. I was sitting in an outhouse there was no door on this outhouse because there's nobody in front of this outhouse that could have seen you because it was looking out over a mountain, basically. And so I was just taking the morning. I was taking care
You
of
were
business in the
relieving
morning.
yourself.
Yeah.
I had a joint, and I was just looking over this vibrant green and blue mountain range in the North Island of New Zealand, just enjoying the moment.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, do you guys want to? What's coming to your brain? I think of like a couple cool places, but like, what do you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've had some good ones in Colorado when we got snowed up on top of a mountain, but that was pretty cool because we were at least we were warm. I mean, that one comes immediately to mind. That was a couple years ago. But I don't know. What's yours?
So I have two. Coolest place I think was probably sort of Colorado. I did a decent amount of dabs in Rocky Mountain National Park. Don't come at me, federal office or whatever. But it's cool being able to like look out and be like, man, I'm enjoying the creation of nature while I'm out in nature. And I think that connectiveness I really like. But I think like the coolest situation would be August 1st of last year. First Avenue held like a legalization party. I went out. It was the first time people were like legally consuming cannabis in an area that was protected by police. Like, yeah, you guys go smoke over there. And I saw someone who brought a dab rig and a nail, and I was like, can I do a dab? And they were like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So ripping a dab in the middle of a Minneapolis street while an officer made sure that no minors came towards me. That was a cool experience.
Yeah.
That was a first for me.
Yeah, I would say, now that you mention it, I think, so at Doobie Dabbler, I picked up Doc Dabs right after his Cooking with Clem segment.
Yeah.
I just was driving by and then took him back to his booth, and right as we get there, Opie from On Point is starting up the leaf blower.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Nice.
I jumped right under the parachute, and that was pretty cool. So I think that's probably up there. I don't know if
That's a really fun one. Yeah.
For me, I'm from a small island in the Chesapeake Bay of Maryland.
Okay.
And there's a small little tiny, what's technically a national park called Terrapin Park. First time I smoked weed was just on the beach in Terrapin Park, like at night, listening to the waves and all of that. That was pretty cool. But honestly, the coolest like now is like smoking weed because it's not legal in Maryland in like a capacity like it is here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So like smoking weed just anytime I just get to do it and not really worry about anything here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like smoking weed with like Kale or Jordan or just like this family I've made for myself out here in Minnesota. That's just cool every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I got so used to it like so quickly, and then was driving through on a road trip to Colorado, and there's like a couple states in between. I don't know if you guys know, and they are not super favorable towards weed.
Yeah.
And there would be times where I'd be like, oh yeah, let me just load up the Puffco real quick, and I'd be like, oh actually, maybe not in South Dakota. I don't
maybe
know
not.
about that one right here.
Yeah.
Did we do it anyways? Maybe.
Allegedly.
Not on the podcast. Wow, I like that. That's a good question. I think put your thoughts in the comments below. Listeners, where have you smoked that was a cool spot? Here in Minnesota or just nationally or anywhere in the world? That's a cool one. Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for coming on
Yeah, thank
today.
you for
Thanks for
having
being
us.
part of our crew. It's always good to have you guys in the studio, and just feels like we're just hanging out, we're chatting, and then I realize there's cameras in front of us. So
Yeah.
it's, good to be here recording the studio.
Yes.
But for those listening, for those watching on YouTube, we'll be back in your feeds in just about a week. In the meantime, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on LinkedIn, you can find us on Instagram. Any of those social medias, go and give us a follow at Northern Lights Pod, at MN Cannabis College. Come stop by here at the Seed and Sesh. You can catch us doing the podcast or just pick up some cannabis products, some growing equipment. It's a pretty fun place here.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll be back in your feeds next week. Until then, have a great rest of your week, guys, and we'll see y'all later. Thanks all.